This could certainly change everything for Miami. Now, what do we do for the rest of the NBA season that we are currently in? Do we continue to try to win as many games as possible, or do we continue to lose close games and attempt to get better draft picks and a better opportunity to go out and get Kevin Durant? Now, based off a brand new report, it seems like the Heat are one of many teams looking to acquire the multiple-time scoring champion this offseason. I'll break down all of the new reports and how this could really benefit the Miami Heat and what to expect for them going forward on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, obviously, before we get to the news and information, as you guys all know, if not already subscribed to the channel and you are a part of the 85.5% that is not, scroll down, click the subscribe button. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But again, let's get to it and break down, does Miami just move on to next season? Now, I've seen this all over social media, some even in the comments, and really the conversation of whether or not this Miami Heat team is just, are they just tanking? Are we moving on to next season? Are we done? Like, are we looking to acquire Trae Young or Kevin Durant or another major superstar this offseason in hopes that next season is going to be our year? Because as currently constructed, it doesn't feel like we have the capabilities to go out there and win an NBA championship. Now, I won't argue with that point because I don't believe Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo can be the two significant factors really leading this team to victory over teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, teams like the Boston Celtics, and if you want to get into the Western Conference conversation, teams like Oklahoma City Thunder, who are great defensively and have an MVP candidate, if not the definitive MVP on their team. Teams like the Denver Nuggets, who I think are going to give any team in the NBA right now problems. LA Lakers, who have now won, 8 in a row with Luka and LeBron playing alongside one another. It's a joy to watch, but again, can this Miami Heat team, as currently constructed, compete with them? Terry Rozier, as we know, is basically not even a part of this team because when he does play, he's absent. And for everyone else, Bam Adebayo looked great in his last game, but again, we don't get that level of aggression from him all that consistently. So again, what do we expect from Bam, especially in those big games? Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Hero, again, good pieces, but can we rely on these guys to really compete against the highest level of competition in the NBA? And then for the role players, Hayward Highsmith, I think, is a championship piece on any team, and I genuinely mean that. 3-and-D type of guy with some elite level defense, and yes, he can knock down the open three, and if he gets hot, he's a problem. But again, it's the defense that we're really talking about here. Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love is aging and going out of his career. I will say Cleveland did have a tribute video for him in the last game when we showed up there, which was 2 nights ago, and announced that they will be retiring his number, which is awesome and well-deserved. Tip your cap to Kevin Love. Again, he's had a phenomenal career. Minnesota better do the same thing. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up his highlights from Minnesota from 10, 15 years ago. He was a problem. And again, a lot of young pieces here, so again, we can grow and continue to get better as time goes on. I'm not going to argue that. I'm a big fan of Jaquez, a massive fan of Khalil Ware, as we all know. Pelle Larsson is going to be a good basketball player, if you don't classify him as that already. But again, these pieces are not better. This team is not constructed better than teams like that we mentioned earlier, the New York Knicks even, as another example. These teams are very, very well put together. And again, in a 7-game series, it would be very interesting to see how this Miami Heat team was able to compete with these other very stronghold teams in the league. So Sam Amico goes ahead and he writes this article yesterday on March 6th, and he really announces that the Spurs, Mavericks, Timberwolves, Rockets, Lakers, or Heat to pursue Kevin Durant in a trade in the offseason. Now, you guys know we have all heard about the entire fugazi craziness that took place at the NBA trade deadline. After Luka was moved for Anthony Davis as well as other pieces, all hell really broke loose. And it caught everyone by surprise. Yes, I understand that. But once that happened, the steam gaining behind the movement of Kevin Durant, as well as possible other players like De'Aaron Fox, who did end up getting moved, and others, really took off. And when that took place, it seemed like Miami was in a position to go out there and make some drastic moves. We knew Jimmy Butler had to be on the move. And possibly there was a scenario where we could move Butler in exchange for someone like Durant or even De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, it wouldn't be a one-for-one trade, but obviously we'd be able to move one plus a few other assets and hope to go out and acquire one of those two major stars to help right the ship for this Miami Heat team this season. Now, if you click on the picture of of Durant takes you to the article written by Sam Amico. And again, it goes on to say as follows, and I quote again, quoting Durant, "I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season," Durant told NBA reporter Malika Andrews of ESPN. Again, to quote, it was nothing against my time with the Warriors, or I heard it was because I don't like Draymond Green. At the end of the day, I just didn't want to move, and I wanted to see it through with my team in Phoenix and see what we can do through the rest of the season. So I'm glad I'm still here." And again, that is the end of the quote from Kevin Durant, something written and quoted by Sam Amico in that article that we're citing. And now, why is this a significant piece? Well, Durant didn't know that the Suns were discussing trade conversations, and based off reports from Brian Windhorst as well as other, and Bobby Marks as well as other NBA insiders on ESPN, on Get Up, on First Take, whatever show you'd like to cite where they had Windy on, the conversation was that they were talking about this for at least 10 days, 2 weeks, somewhere along that timeline, and Durant had no idea. They never went to Durant and said, "Hey, we're looking to trade you. We're looking to reset our team in exchange for you. We're going to send you to Miami for basically 11 guys." And that's based off reports from the Dan Le Batard show. They were looking for our, quote, our entire team. And if you look up the Dan Le Batard show, it's something we've covered on this channel before back at the NBA trade deadline. That is literally the exact quote from Dan Le Batard. They wanted the entire team. It wasn't just Jaquez, Jovic, Ware, and Butler. Like, they wanted the entire roster for Kevin Durant, and you can't really blame them. They gave up a king's ransom times 2 in order to go out and acquire Kevin Durant from Brooklyn. So again, they wanted to be compensated adequately in exchange for a multiple-time scoring champ, and really, it's Kevin Durant. That's just the way it works. Now, I was not surprised that that is what they were looking for in exchange in the sense of price for Durant, but again, it didn't happen, and now he remains in Phoenix, and now he's going to get to this offseason, and he's going to have 1 year left on his contract. There is no option in the sense of a team or player option, so this is going to have to flat out be a trade created by 2 possible teams, and or maybe even more, in order to get this transaction done. Durant is going into his age 37 season next season, and he'll be paid $54.7 million plus some change in that last season before becoming an unrestricted free agent. So, hypothetically, if Miami, or let's just say this season ends, both Phoenix and Miami don't make the playoffs, just to speed things up a little bit, okay? They're in their off seasons. Miami proposes a trade to Phoenix. Phoenix accepts the trade. Kevin Durant goes to Miami. We send a king's ransom to Phoenix, okay? That will then reset both teams, without a doubt. Here's the problem. Durant will only be under contract for 1 final year at a $54.7 million price, and after that following year, he will then become an unrestricted free agent, bearing the Miami Heat giving him a contract extension. Now, for Riley to go out and acquire Durant, that would be one thing. For him to acquire him and then extend him at the age of 37, which really would have been him taking care of him from the age of 38 on, because again, he is still under contract for his age 37 season, would be very interesting. And again, I am not sure if I believe whether or not Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and the rest, Mickey Arison and the rest of this front office for the Miami Heat will actually do that. Now, if you guys think differently, please let me know down in the comments if you believe Pat Riley would actually extend someone in Kevin Durant at that point of age. But again, I'm not sold on the idea that he will. Currently, right now, the Miami Heat are the 7th seed. We're 29-32, and we are a full 5 games back from the Detroit Pistons, who are the 6th seed. Our time to make a run was about 15 days ago, about a month ago, and we failed to do so. We just continued to lose ball games, and because of that, and while the Pistons continue to win, teams like the Bucks and the Knicks continue to win, as well as the Celtics, as well as obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just beat us, continued to win. We keep getting pushed farther and farther away from a possible playoff spot rather than a play-in spot. And again, this is just becoming harder and harder to watch as the games go on. Hopefully we can stay healthy for the remainder of the season, put a few good wins in behind us, and propel ourselves into the playoffs, whether it is in the play-in or in an actual playoff series as a 6th seed. again, it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to be very dramatic from here on out and going into next season, and I mean through the entirety of the offseason, because it's going to be very amplified in the sense of pressure and what Pat Riley and everyone else does, because this roster, as currently constructed, is not going to get the job done. Look for Alex Burks to be moved, Terry Rozier, maybe even Andrew Wiggins, as well as a handful of others, Kyle Anderson. Kevin Love will most likely be cut / be retired. Again, there's going to be a lot of replacements and a lot of new faces in Miami next season in order to really not duplicate this year or the years past. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest, and let me know below, would you like to see Kevin Durant in a Miami Heat jersey next season? Thanks for watching.